Hey, let's spice up your open chords, shall we? Hey everybody out there, John here. So this is the first lesson of a new set of lessons I'll be doing aimed at beginners who have already gotten their feet wet on the guitar with concepts such as open chords, bar chords, etc. Today we're going to be looking at open chords and how to spice them up and sound a little more interesting. So if you're somebody's uncle out there that thought this was going to be a sweet picking lesson, I would say get back on your metronome, you bum. There is going to be a free tab sheet with today's class. All you got to do is email me, John, at shredpro411@gmail.com. So to spice up these chords, we're going to be looking at two easy concepts. The first is substituting out a note in the chord for a different one. The second concept is adding in another note to the chord. Pretty easy. I will be going on with some music theory along the way for those that are interested, but if all you want to do is take the shapes and run with them, that's awesome. If you want to know more about the music theory or a more in-depth class, I do Skype lessons. Also, be sure to stick out to the end because we'll be comparing the stock open shapes with some of these alterations. Let's get started. Before we get into altering these open chords, let's lay the groundwork, and I'll show you the open chords we're going to be dealing with today. I'm sure you're already practicing them. These chords sound great in everyday life, and especially around a campfire. Although with the whole COVID thing, maybe you're just by yourself around the campfire, and that's a little strange. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. Okay, let's get into the shapes. The first is G major. The next is E major. Next we have E minor. Next we have A major. And A minor. Then C major. D major. And the saddest of all open chords, D minor. So now that we're all on the same page with the open chords we're dealing with, let's talk about the first way we're going to alter them by substituting out one of the notes for another. So if I play you this E major chord, even though I'm playing all 6 strings, I'm really only playing 3 notes, the 3 members of the chord, the 1, 3, and the 5. You could think of it like a sandwich, with the 1 being the bottom layer of bread, the 3 being the filling in the middle, and the 5 being the other layer of bread. The color note, the money note, the flavorful note in all these chords is the 3rd. Let's contrast E major and E minor. E major. By lifting up my first finger to get the open G, I can make E minor. That note on the G string is the 3rd, and it's separated by only 1 half step. 1 half step makes all that difference. From happy and cheerful to sad and somber. If we replace that 3rd note with the 4th note in relation to the root, we get a sus4 chord. And I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this trick on the D major chord where you do this. If I go a little further, it's Free Falling by the great American songwriter Tom Petty. Rest in peace, big guy. So if we take the same concept, replacing the third of the chord with the fourth of the chord, we get a whole new set of shapes. So I'll go through them, and then I'll show you what it's like when you toggle back and forth. Okay, here's G sus4. I'm having to alter my fingering a little over here for you chord police at home. Here's E sus4. Here's A sus4. Here's C sus4. And here's D sus4. So you might notice that the major and minor shapes, they become the same shape because it's really the third that differentiates major and minor chords. So a major chord sus4 is the same as a minor chord sus4 because you're taking out that third, that money note. So one good thing to do is to let the sus4 resolve back into the original chord. So let's do that. I'm going to resolve all of these to major, but try to resolve them to minor at home. Okay everybody, we're cooking with gas now. So the next way I'd like to tell you how to spice up these chords is by adding a note to them. We're going to leave all the members of the chord the same, but we're going to be adding another ingredient, like adding on your favorite topping at Chipotle. So the one we're going to be talking about today is adding the 9 of the chord, and I think these sound really pretty, unless you're out of tune. Alright, C add 9, this is going to be amazing. So for some of these shapes, there's more than one way to play them. More ways to have fun. Let's start with G add 9. E major, add 9. E minor, add 9. A major, add 9. A minor, add 9. C major, add 9. D major, add 9. Warning, D minor, add 9. That one might be theoretical. I don't see anybody just throwing that in. Okay, so just like the sus4 chords, it's great to practice toggling back and forth between the stock shapes and these altered shapes. Let's listen to how that sounds. Alright, so the last way we're going to talk about how to alter these chords is by substituting the third for the second. So just like the sus4 chords, we're ditching the third, but this time we're adding the second. And once again, the major and minor shapes become the same shape. So let's first go through these. Here's G, sus2. Here's E, sus2. A, sus2. C, sus2. You can also add the top note on here, the G note to the C. C, sus2. And here's D, sus2. Well, everybody, I hope you found these altered open chords pleasing to the ear. And I hope you can see what a great exercise it is switching between all the various forms. I would like to talk a bit about usage. Feel free to use your ears and your taste to decide when to put these in, whenever you encounter these open chords. There are some harmonic and melodic considerations to take into account, which might not allow all alterations to be played depending on chord progression and key. But I would say throw caution to the wind and try to fit them in whenever you can. Variety is the spice of life. Remember, there is a free tab sheet with this lesson. Email me, John, at shredpro411@gmail.com. Before we totally sign off, let's do a comparison of a chord progression, and we'll play the normal open chords, and then I'll add in some of these various alterations. Thank you so much, and see you next time.